Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another installment of Girlfriend's Guide to Comic Books on Billboard Comics. Um, this time, I know if you've gotten this far, you're probably a little daunted about um, the whole process of buying comic books for your loved one. You're not really sure about getting them because you don't know, you might know what he wants, but you might not know what he needs. You want something that he'll be able to use, definitely have use for, and the right thing that he'll always have use for. Hmm. Um, Let me see. Cooney from the movie UHF. Do you have any ideas?
I don't know. I just thought.
Supplies!
Yes. I hope that doesn't cause me to have this be taken down to a copyright strike. Um, however, it is. Today we're going to talk about supplies. Um, every collector pretty much needs these. I should say at least most of them. I say about like high 98 percentile of them do. I know I do. I know a lot of people I know do. A lot of collectors I do. Um, So if you're looking to get a gift for your loved one who collects comic books, this might be a good avenue to go into. I'm going to drop this down to 3 videos: one for bags and boards, one for boxes, and one for miscellaneous stuff. So be on the lookout for the next 3 weeks. You're going to be overloaded with supply information. Um, like I said, this week we're going to talk about bags and boards. You might have the question, do you need bags and boards for your comic books? Um, Perhaps the collector in life is somebody who doesn't use them, and more power to them. You have seen like one of the most famous comic book collections ever found was the I think the Edgar Church Mile High collection. It's a pedigree uh, found by Chuck Ozansky for Mile High Comics. It set his business up, and it was almost pristine mint golden age comic books, a long, big, healthy hundreds, if not thousands of them that they found. And they were not found in bags and boards at all. They're found stacked in a basement, which is cool and dry, um, stacked on one on top of another. And those turn out pretty good. You do see every so often haul videos where they have stuff that don't have in bags and boards that are looking pretty good condition. Um, so you might think you might not need to actually get bags and boards for it. Personally, I feel more secure with it. Maybe I'm drinking the Kool-Aid, but number one, having a board in the background does help to have protect it, especially if you have a box that's not completely full. So if it bends down, it doesn't bend completely. It's not a stopgap method. If you have a big enough gap, it will fall, it will bend, but it will bend less than if you just have it without anything in there. And also, the bag helps to keep out pests like little bugs and mice and rodents and stuff like this. They have to chew through that and whatever box you have into it to get the actual comic book. So it gives a little extra layer of protection. Also, if you're somehow the house is flooded and you have this in there, and as long as it's not completely submerged underneath water, it will protect your comic books from major damage. The dampness probably still wouldn't be good for them, but a little bit of dampness would be easier to probably press out than it would be to actually have it completely waterlogged and completely ruined. Because those probably get unsalvageable. Um, but like the bags and boards are basically a cottage industry now. People buy it without even considering it, even batting an eye, without even thinking about it, which is interesting. It's cool. Um, you you kids today, get my old man hat on. Um, you kids today have it lucky. Basically, the only bag you have to choose from for the common everyday use bags, I'll go into Mylar a little bit later, are polypropylene. Um, Back in my day, you had a choice between polyethylene and polypropylene, and people were discussing this like online and in person about like which was better, which do you like better, which you think was better. A lot of people like polyethylene um, because it was thicker and it seemed to have more protection against the elements and stuff like that. However, it had like for me, I never liked it because it had a cloudy film to it. And I think me not liking back then has paid off now because whenever you see a polyethylene bag nowadays, it's brown, looks like it's nicotine stained, which is not. It's just the way it like broke down and all the acids coming off the book broke it down. And usually, if you see a haul video with them and they go flipping through it goes through like a big rip, because they get stuck together. Um, so there's a reason why polypropylene won that battle, uh, and it's much better than it is. Um, Polypropylene will like usually run you anywhere from say $6.30 per 100, and that's from BCW. BCW usually is the industry standard when it comes to this, and usually has better um, prices than anybody else. Um, and you also go up to Bags Unlimited. Bags Unlimited is the most expensive online retailer for this. Um, and they run bags for $113.91. I had somebody in a comic book shop say that the Bags Unlimited bags were the best bags you could possibly buy. He was so vehement and so insistent upon it that I thought that I was being indoctrinated into a cult a little bit. I was afraid that I might have to hand in my, wallet and ID to him because I might never leave the comic book shop. Um, but it's up to you. I mean, like, and this is if you order online. Online, you could these are the prices online, and you could get much better prices if you buy in bulk. Every place seems to have like a better price the more you buy. Um, and that goes for pretty much every bag and board you're going to get. The boards usually run from anywhere from like say $9.92, which is the Comic Pro line backing boards, all the way up to about say $14.99. $14.99 seems about the customizable one. This is of course depending on which ones you if you go online to get them. Uh, if you get them at your comic store, you're pretty much on the mercy of the comic store owner and what bags he likes to sell. He's not going to have like BCW next to Comic Pro line, next to Comic Care, next to um, any other ones. His space isn't really probably that big for it, and just for supplies, he's not going to dedicate like a whole series of a rack segment to them. He'll get one from one vendor, probably whichever ones he has the best deal with, ones that he likes, and that's what you're going to get. So if anything, you might have to go online to get them. Um, uh, it's kind of it's a process and stuff like this, and like but a necessary evil, I believe. Um, People say like the regular, common, everyday bags and boards should be changed out every 5 to 7 years. I think this is suggested by the National Bag and Board Association to try to draw up more business for people buying bags and boards. I personally have not changed the bags and boards on any of my collections, except for like updating them to Mylars, the most expensive ones, um, since I got them. And a lot of these stuff is on outside uh, storage, which is temperature controlled and climate controlled. So Lord knows what they're showing up to. I might get them at one point when nothing but dust inside the bags and boards. Um, but a lot of people go even 20 years without it. So this is a lot of people who don't change it on a regular basis. You do find like certain collections, older collections, that have been sitting around for decades with the same bag and board on, and it hasn't really made a discernible difference. There might be a little yellowing, but it's nothing that's really major or affect the quality of the book. However, I've been noticing lately, I got a couple auctions where it looks like the image, whatever was the rest of the comic book that's resting against the bag and board, has sort of bled against it, and the uh, board has a kind of a shallow image of whatever it was. It doesn't really seem to actually affect the actual book itself. It doesn't really like make it more muted or anything like that, but it's just something to think of. Um, I wouldn't have a big collection like mine having like I have close to 50,000 books. I'm currently at 49,675 and counting. I'm going to introduce that into my next haul video to see how close I'm getting, and maybe when I hit 50,000, I'll send you out a whole bunch of the extra comic books I have to whoever comments in the bottom, which will be nobody. But anyhow, I digress. So the fact of trying to replace all those, and I do something that most people don't do. I have my comic books two to a bag and board, back to back, which I've never had a problem with, but people are saying it ends up with danger and like having that's where like the bleed comes from. When it comes against the non-coded side, uh, the image will mesh against it. So that's something I have to investigate when I get access to my comic books uh, of that certain age. Um, but I guess just like trying to the idea of like replacing all of them um, is incredibly daunting prospect and a costly prospect too. Even with the bulk discounts, getting 50,000 bags of boards, it's not going to be cheap. And I'd rather spend the money on comic books than actually have bags of boards. I'd replace stuff that already are in it. I wish they came up with a better version, and they did, which would be Mylars and acid-free, like fullbacks and halfbacks. Um, these this bag and board combo is supposed to last you for 100 years, which is longer than most people are alive, especially people who would be like collecting comic books. Um, and you might think like, well, why don't you make all your comic books in the Mylars, Bill? Or why should maybe I just buy my boyfriend, girlfriend, significant other a bunch of Mylars to put it in? You could get a good deal on eGerber for if you buy bulk. Um, the reason why I don't do this is because obviously they're more expensive. Usually the eGerber Mylars for 100, it's $26 for 100, and as you can tell, that's almost $20 more than the regular bags are. Um, and other companies are even more expensive than that. I mean, you have like Bags Unlimited for their Mylar. It's $39.34 for 100, and BCW is $53.96 for their Mylar bags. So you might get the whole thing about not having to change it, but why would you put like a 50-cent book like Turok #1 into a Mylar? I mean, it doesn't seem make sense to like that. It's like like you know, you know getting putting ketchup on a steak, if you will. Um, but that's an option for you if you want to do that. My dream is winning the lottery. Doing the supply stuff. A lot of my lottery dreams, granted, yeah, I do have like the buying comics lottery dreams of buying a Fantastic Four #1 with cash and stuff and walking out there, and usually because I'm a morbid, dark personality, I get robbed immediately afterwards, and end up in hospital for a while because somebody stole that Fantastic Four from me. Um, but that's you don't need to look in my mind that much. I'm sure you not don't know who I am. Anyway, my one of my lottery dream, if I ever win like the big lottery, is to get my entire collection, even that Turok #1, even like the my Dazzler collection, even my you know um, 1990s X-Men books that you can't even barely sell. I put them all into Mylars, so I don't have to worry about them for the rest of my life. Which I'm in my 50s now. If I put them in Mylars, they're definitely going to last until way after I'm gone, and usually probably even after you know my daughter is gone, if she gets them or whatever. But that's one of my ultimate fantasies if I have the money to do so. Um, Another kind of thing about this is involving with the storage like of individual comics is something called top loaders. Um, Top loaders are basically a hard plastic shell. It's not that hard. It's malleable a little bit. It wobbles a little bit. That I've seen on like really expensive books. Like if I get like a say I think my Iron Man #1 came in one of this. Uh, Usually could fit a comic book in a bag board inside it, but it's an extra layer of protection. It's less. It is malleable, but it bends less than a regular bag and board, and it keeps it sturdier, keep it more erect, and stuff like that. But again, these are also expensive. It's like usually sold in packs of 10. Uh, uh, Ultra Pro usually sells theirs for $32.99 for a pack of 10. BCW is like and um, Max Protection have the top loaders for $27.99 for a pack of 10. So you're paying like about $2 per top loader, close to $3 per top loader. And again, like $3 times 50,000, that's $150,000 if I want to get all my comic books into top loaders. And that's, again, unless I really, really win the lottery, and my wife will let me spend the lottery money um, on that. And it has to be like one of those like $500 million or $900 million lottery wins to even consider it, because if we just won $1 million, she's not going to let me spend like 1/10 of it on top loaders for all my books. But that's something for you to choose if you have a very special item, or your husband or boyfriend or daughter or mother or son have a very important, a very valuable comic book that you got them, gets in the top loader, it gets a little extra kind of bit of protection. Um, so that I'm gonna wrap up this section right now. Will be back next week to talk about backing boards for you. If you have any questions regarding bags and boards, no, I'll be talking about boxes. Oh, before I go, I forgot about this. There's a recent innovation in backing boards. They have now clear backing boards. It's basically like a piece of plastic. I believe it should be acid free, because why would they not do that? Where it's clear. So if you have say um, like the X-Men #1 or Crisis of Infinite Earths #1, where it's a wraparound cover, and you want to show off the back cover, um, you can put these in your bags and boards to do that. Um, it started rolling off by, I think, like um, by one particular company, which names escapes me. At the time I didn't write it down. I'm sorry, but now it seems like more and more companies are putting them out. I think Comic Proline has a version of it. I also think like Bags Unlimited has a version of it where you could get these. Again, these are more expensive than regular backing boards, but if you have a special comic book you want to show off the back cover for, you can use those too. That's another option for you or for your significant other. So okay, on that note, I really will end it now. So if you have any questions, please put them in the comments. I can try to answer them as much as possible. Anything I might have forgotten or not covered, or another bag and board option that you might need. I didn't cover, like, and just so you know, I didn't cover. There's a whole bunch of bargain basement, like, fall off of Timu truck kind of bags and boards on there. I didn't cover those because I can't guarantee the quality. I've pretty much gotten at least some from all these here, and they all have their issues, but they all are pretty much relatively good for your comic books. The ones that are 50 cents for 100, I don't know if I trust them, and so I didn't want to tell you about them. So, so if you're going to point those out to me, only point them out if you've got them already and you've tried them out and you have a whole bunch of good reviews for them, or bad reviews, or whatever. Let us know about that in the comments. If you found this useful, please give me a thumbs up. If you want to see more items like this, including the next 2 installments in this mini series of Girlfriend's Guide to Comics, hit the subscribe button. None of this costs any money to you. It's just a way for me to get my videos in front of other people who might like to see them, and also let me know exactly what videos people like and what direction should steer this channel in the future. So until next time, keep on collecting.